How many English words do you know? 1,000? 2,000? Maybe 5,000? Now let me ask you a different question. How many English words can you actually use? If you're like most English learners, the answer is much, much smaller. You have thousands of words in your head, but when you try to speak, they disappear. They hide. You can't find them. You know the words, but you can't use the words. This is the vocabulary prison, and today I'm going to show you how to escape. Stop memorizing words, start learning like a child. Let me explain. Meet James. He's 35 years old. He's a software engineer. He's intelligent. He's dedicated. James has been studying English for 8 years. He uses flashcard apps every single day. He has studied over 8,000 English words. 8,000 words! Native English speakers use about 3,000 words in daily conversation. James knows almost 3 times that many. So James should be fluent, right? He should be able to have any conversation he wants. But he can't. When someone speaks to him in English, his mind goes blank. The words he memorized, all 8,000 of them, they just disappear. He can't remember them. He can't access them. They're locked inside his brain, and he can't get them out. Last year, James went to a business conference in San Francisco. He was excited. He was confident. He thought, I know 8,000 words. I can do this. But at the conference, he couldn't network. He couldn't make small talk. He couldn't express his ideas. He stood in the corner silent, frustrated, watching other people have conversations. One person asked him, "What do you do?" James knew all the words. I am a software engineer. I work on web applications. I specialize in back-end development. But the words wouldn't come out. Instead, he said, I work with computers. The person smiled politely and walked away. That night, James almost gave up on English. He thought, I've memorized 8,000 words. I've spent hundreds of hours studying. Why can't I speak? What's wrong with me? The answer? Nothing is wrong with James. Everything is wrong with his method. The problem with memorizing words is simple. Memorized words stay in your passive vocabulary. They never become active vocabulary. Passive vocabulary means you recognize the word when you see it or hear it. Active vocabulary means you can use the word spontaneously when you speak or write. Most language learners have huge passive vocabularies and tiny active vocabularies. It's like having a library with 8,000 books, but all the books are locked in a room you can't enter. Children don't have this problem. Why? Because children don't memorize words, they acquire words, and there's a huge difference. Let me tell you a story about a child named Sophie, a story that will change how you think about vocabulary forever. Part 1. How Sophie Learned Hungry. Sophie is 3 years old. She doesn't speak much yet, but she's learning fast. One day, Sophie's mother is making lunch. Sophie is playing with her toys. She starts to feel uncomfortable. Her stomach feels empty. She doesn't know the word hungry. She's never studied vocabulary flashcards, but she needs to communicate. So she goes to her mother and says, "Mama, tummy." Her mother looks at her and smiles. "Oh, are you hungry, Sophie?" Sophie doesn't understand every word, but she understands the feeling. She nods. "Yes, you're hungry. Let's eat." Her mother gives her a sandwich. Sophie eats. The uncomfortable feeling goes away. Sophie has just learned the word hungry, but she didn't memorize it. She experienced it. The next day, Sophie feels that same empty feeling in her stomach. This time, she remembers. She goes to her mother and says, "Mama, hungry." Her mother smiles. "Good job, Sophie. You're hungry. Let's have a snack." Sophie gets food. The word hungry is now connected to the physical feeling in her stomach, the action of eating, the positive response from her mother, the relief when she gets food. This word isn't just in Sophie's brain. It's in her body. It's in her emotions. It's in her experiences. That's why Sophie will never forget the word hungry, and that's why she can use it without thinking. She didn't memorize it. She lived it. Part 2. How James Learned Hungry. Now, let's compare this to how James learned the word hungry. James was in English class. His teacher wrote on the board, "Hungry, adjective, feeling a need or desire to eat." James wrote it in his notebook. He looked at it and repeated, "Hungry, feeling a need to eat, hungry." Then he put it in his flashcard app. Front, hungry. Back, feeling a need or desire to eat. He reviewed this flashcard 20 times over 2 weeks. He memorized it perfectly. But James's brain didn't connect hungry to anything real. It didn't connect to the physical feeling. It didn't connect to a real situation. It didn't connect to an emotion. It was just an abstract concept, a translation, a definition. So when James was at a restaurant in San Francisco, actually feeling hungry, trying to order food, the word hungry didn't come to his mind. Why? Because his brain had never connected the word to the real experience. Instead, he pointed at the menu and said, "I want this." Part 3. The Hidden Truth About Vocabulary. Here's what most people don't understand. Your brain doesn't store words. Your brain stores experiences. When a native speaker hears the word hungry, their brain doesn't pull up a definition. Their brain pulls up the feeling of an empty stomach, the sight of food, the smell of cooking, the memory of eating, the relief of satisfaction. The word is connected to a web of sensory experiences and emotions. That's why native speakers can use words instantly without thinking. The words are embedded in their life experiences. When you memorize words from flashcards, you're trying to store them as pure information, but your brain doesn't work that way. Your brain needs context. Your brain needs experience. Your brain needs emotion. That's why children learn languages so effectively. Not because their brains are more flexible or plastic. That's partly true, but it's not the main reason. Children learn effectively because they learn through experience, not through study. Part 4. The right way to learn vocabulary. So how should you learn vocabulary? Like Sophie, not like James. Here's the method. Step 1. Encounter the word in context. Don't learn words from lists. Learn words from real situations. Read a story, watch a video, listen to a podcast. The word appears naturally, surrounded by other words in a real situation. Example, you're watching a video. A character says, "I'm starving. I haven't eaten all day." You don't know the word starving, but you can understand from context. The person looks tired. They're talking about not eating. They seem desperate. Your brain makes a connection. Starving equals very hungry. Step 2. Connect the word to experience. Don't just write down the definition. Connect it to something you've experienced. Think, when was the last time I felt starving? Remember that feeling. Remember that moment. Connect the English word to your real memory. Your brain will remember this connection much better than any definition. Step 3. Use the word in your own context. Within 24 hours, use the word. Say it out loud. Write it in a sentence about your own life. Yesterday, I worked all day and forgot to eat lunch. By 5 p.m., I was starving. When you use a word to express your own experience, it moves from passive to active vocabulary. Step 4. Encounter it again and again naturally. Don't force repetition through flashcards. Let repetition happen naturally through consuming content. Keep reading, watching, listening. You'll see the word again and again. Each time it becomes stronger in your memory. But it's not a memorized fact anymore. It's a lived experience. Part 5. James's transformation. Let me tell you what happened to James after he learned this method. After the San Francisco conference, James stopped using flashcards completely. He deleted his flashcard apps. He threw away his vocabulary notebooks. Instead, he started watching English TV shows every day, 1 to 2 hours. Not educational shows, real shows, comedies, dramas, shows that native speakers watch. He chose shows with subtitles at first. When he heard a word he didn't know, he didn't pause to write it down. He just kept watching. Sometimes he understood the word from context. Sometimes he didn't. He accepted that uncertainty. After a few weeks, he turned off the subtitles. He just listened. He also started reading books, not textbooks, real books, fiction, stories. When he encountered a new word, he didn't stop to look it up. He tried to guess from context. Most of the time, he was right. Sometimes he was wrong. He accepted that too. After 3 months of this, something incredible happened. James was at another conference. Someone asked him, "What do you do?" This time, the answer came naturally. "I'm a software engineer. I work on back-end systems for web applications." The words just flowed. He didn't think about them. He didn't translate. They just appeared. Why? Because over 3 months, he had heard similar conversations hundreds of times in TV shows. His brain had absorbed the patterns, the phrases, the natural flow. He wasn't using memorized vocabulary. He was using acquired language. Later that evening, James had a 20-minute conversation about his work. He explained complex technical concepts. He made jokes. He connected with people. That night, he didn't feel frustrated. He felt proud. He felt free. Part 6. The science behind this. Why does this method work? It's based on something called comprehensible input. This is a theory from linguist Stephen Krashen. The theory says you acquire language by understanding messages, not by studying rules or memorizing words. When you watch a TV show, your brain is focused on the story. You want to know what happens next. You're emotionally engaged. While you're focused on the story, your subconscious brain is doing something amazing. It's analyzing patterns. It's learning grammar. It's acquiring vocabulary, all without you trying. This is how children learn. This is how you learned your first language. You didn't study your native language. You acquired it by being surrounded by it, by hearing it in context, by using it to communicate. English is no different. The method that worked for your first language works for your second language. The only difference? As an adult, you can speed up the process by choosing good input and by being more aware of your learning. So what can you learn from Sophie and James? Lesson 1. Stop using flashcards for new vocabulary. Flashcards work for some things, like learning the alphabet or memorizing numbers, but for vocabulary, they create passive knowledge, not active ability. Instead, encounter new words in stories, videos, and conversations. Lesson 2. Always learn words in context. Never learn a word alone. Always learn it as part of a sentence, a story, a situation. Context gives your brain hooks to remember. Isolated words have no hooks. Lesson 3. Connect words to your own experiences. When you learn a new word, ask yourself, when have I felt this? When have I done this? Connect the English word to your real memories. This makes it unforgettable. Lesson 4. Prioritize input over study. Watch more, read more, listen more. Study less, memorize less, analyze less. Your brain needs massive amounts of comprehensible input. Give it that input, and vocabulary acquisition happens naturally. Lesson 5. Accept uncertainty. You don't need to understand every word. You don't need to look up every word. Understanding 70 to 80% is enough. Your brain will figure out the rest from context. Let go of perfectionism. Embrace the natural learning process. Lesson 6. Be patient with the process. Active vocabulary doesn't develop overnight. It takes time, it takes repetition, but it's effortless repetition through watching, reading, listening, not forced repetition through flashcards. Trust the process. Your brain knows how to do this. Lesson 7. Use the vocabulary you're acquiring. Find opportunities to speak and write. Use the new words you're encountering. Using a word even once moves it closer to active vocabulary. The formula: input, reading, listening, plus output, speaking, writing, equals active vocabulary. Here's what you should do today. Step 1. Delete your flashcard apps, or at least stop using them for new vocabulary. Step 2. Choose one English TV show you enjoy. Start watching it. Every day, one episode. Step 3. Choose one English book at your level. Start reading it. Every day, 10 to 20 pages. Step 4. When you encounter a new word, don't stop. Don't look it up. Just guess from context and keep going. Step 5. Once a day, use a new word you encountered. Say it out loud. Write it in a sentence about your life. That's it. Simple, natural, effective. If this video changed how you think about vocabulary, hit subscribe. Tomorrow, I'll tell you about Sarah. She was terrified of speaking English, completely terrified. She would shake and sweat before any English conversation. But she found one technique that eliminated her fear completely in just 30 days. What was it? You'll find out tomorrow. Remember, stop memorizing. Start living the language. See you tomorrow.